to our October 6, 2022 meeting. As always, Justin's kind enough to video record these meetings and put them on the Eastgate website. And so you can go back and you review the meetings as you see fit. And then there's no reason to have minutes to show up. Let's start off with our guest speaker for today, Kathy.
Hello.
Hello, we have Kathy Zook from Eastgate. She's the program manager for their Appalachian Regional Mission Program. You have the floor, Kathy.
All right, I am going to try to share my screen with you. Okay, we'll go to the slideshow and start from the current slide. Oh boy, can you see me? There we are. I'm always the one who has technical difficulties, so I get a little nervous on these things. Can everyone see my PowerPoint?
We cannot.
You cannot. Okay, because I can't see you either.
If you go back to the WebEx app, along the bottom, it should have a button that says share along the bottom of the screen.
Okay, I see that. Okay. And we will share that one. All right. Thank you for holding my hand, Justin.
Yeah.
How's that? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Because now I can no longer see any faces. So if anyone has a question, feel free to just give me a shout out because I can no longer see you. But I'm really happy that Justin invited me to talk to you about our Appalachian program. ARC actually stands for Appalachian Regional Commission, and I will just say ARC from this point. It's a lot easier. But we have a lot going on within the program, so I'm happy to share with you some of the things that we have going on. First of all, okay, let's talk about what is going on with our full application process. Very excited. We are moving to a new format. It is going to be a completely online application. And so it's in a system called Salesforce. It's very user-friendly. We, as the local development districts, of which there are 4 in the state of Ohio, we administer the program. We are moving to that and really thrilled that it's going to be a lot easier for the applicants. So you may recall the CAB reviewed the pre-application recommendations and approved them. So I do thank you for that. So those 10 applicants that were noted in Resolution 13, 2022, they are the ones moving forward. We'll have our annual workshop that we always do, and that is going to be held on October 21st with those 10 applicants. And then the applications will be due on November 18th. So now I would like to talk to you a little bit about some funding opportunities. You may have heard a lot of discussion about the $500 million that has been awarded to the 32 counties of Appalachia. That was passed through House Bill 377, signed by Governor DeWine in June. So we were very thankful for the administration for that support, as well as the Ohio legislature. That bill created the Appalachian Community Grant Program. So in that program, the $500 million will be allocated in 2 phases and 3 buckets. The phases really are the grants, which would be planning grants, as well as what we're calling implementation grants. 3 buckets are the areas of priority. Or I should say that they're the investment categories. And that is restoring our downtown, so downtown revitalization, improving community health, and rebuilding our local workforce. Now, this program, as per the legislation, will be administered through the Ohio Department of Development through Director Melidia Hallex. She is the director of ODOD. And then that will go through the Governor's Office of Appalachia, which is Director John Kerry, in consultation with the 4 local development districts. I don't know if you had an opportunity to join us virtually, but we did have the Appalachia Forward Conference that was yesterday in Portsmouth, Ohio. I was one of the presenters and moderators. It was done in partnership with Ohio University and the 4 local development districts, as well as John Kerry and his folks with the Governor's Office of Appalachia. So this is what the topic was about, the Appalachian Community Grant funding. And to take away from that conference and what we've been talking about is planning, planning, planning. $500 million is a huge amount of money. We want our district as well as our sister agencies to be able to capture all the funding that's available for that. So applicants are highly encouraged to go with the planning grant first and then go to implementation. So planning grants, that's about $50 million. And then the implementation grants, that's $450. So I'll just go into a little bit of depth about those 3 buckets that I was talking about. So downtown revitalization, what we're looking for there, whether you're a large city or a small city, is connecting your trails and your outdoor community spaces, as well as arts, culture, history of your area, and also access to telemed. And the example I gave earlier today at the TAC was when I was in Portsmouth, we did a little cultural tour, and of course they're right there on the river. They have a flood wall which protects their city. And instead of having it as a necessary, kind of an eyesore, they made it a beautiful cultural mural. And it is the largest mural in the world painted by one artist. So it really draws in a lot of tourists, which spurs economic development, and it's actually beautiful. So something like that is what we're looking for. I should say too, with this program, we're looking for projects that are regional. So standalone projects will not be competitive in this request. We're looking for projects that are like evidence-based, public-private partnerships, and transformational. So things that you can see, feel, and touch. It will not be for your infrastructure projects, the traditional water lines, sewer lines, and broadband. Legislature felt that there was lots of other funding sources that had opportunities for that. So this particular funding source will not have those types of projects funded. So just to give you a little background there. And also the second bucket, what we call improving community health. So those would be investments in your schools or community-based facilities, because we really want to address the physical and mental health of the people of Appalachia. So we're looking for projects that come forward there, as also projects that address substance use disorder. And then the last bucket is rebuilding our workforce. So we're looking for public-private partnerships to come forward there for education, clinical training, and things of that nature. Let me just go on to the next slide here. It's going to be a competitive process, of course, and with that, we do not have the guidelines at this time. We were hoping to have them. We keep hearing soon, 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 but the final guidelines we hope to have out soon. As far as Director Mahalik and Director Kerry have been working diligently with the legislature on this, but $500 million is a once-in-a-lifetime investment that is as a gift from our legislature. They want to make sure they get it right rather than getting it out quick. So we're looking for that NOFO or those final guidance very soon. But just to give you an in-depth of what the legislature in House Bill 377 that's the criteria that I'm giving you at this time. And we'll look for the final guidance. But the $500 million, there is no allocation per county. That's not going to be divided up in 32 chunks. It will be a competitive process with a minimum score. And then the controlling board through the state of Ohio will have to approve all the projects. It is federal dollars that's coming through the ARPA funding, the American Recovery Act program. And with that comes stipulations in the timeline. So all projects will have to be approved by December of 2024, and then all grants will have to be awarded by December of 2026. So that's a pretty fast timeline for us, considering the nature and scope of these projects. We want them to as big and bold and regional. And with that comes a lot of federal criteria that has to be met. And so certainly this timeline, we are very conscious of that. Once that final guidance comes out, Eastgate is going to hold a workshop, and we will have that in person as well as a virtual option. This way we will get all the information out at one time, then it will be recorded. We'll have it online, and for our district, we have Trumbull, Mahoney, and Ashtabula County. Everyone will get the information at the same time. And with this, we do anticipate it'll be 3 rounds of funding. First one, as I said, is coming soon. And then the next one we're looking for is probably around October of next year. Let's see. Okay. Well, now there's a second funding source. We're really lucky with the ARC. We have lots of different funding sources in addition to our regular allocation we get every year at Eastgate. So we have great bipartisan support both on the federal and state level. This project is, or initiative, I should say, is a federal one. The Appalachian Community Grant Program is a state. ARISE is federal, and that stands for Appalachian Regional Initiative for Stronger Economies. $73.5 million is in this initiative, and it is really for a multi-state regional collaborative projects to provide assistance for economies that stretch across the state line. Again, we have planning grants, about $10 million, and the rest of that 63.5 will be for implementation grants. The consistent theme you will hear with ARC is regional, transformational, and planning. That all falls within this category as well. We want to demonstrate collaborative partnerships, and so an applicant will have to demonstrate that, and then we also will have outcome driven. And by that I mean that when if you're an interested applicant, you need to complete a four-page paper. Tell us what your project is, tell us who your partners are, and what your geographical service area is. And then from that, the ARC folks in DC will review it. If they have an interest in it, then they will invite you to complete a full application. Of course, all this information is on the Eastgate website, and you can see on here we have like a toolkit and a request for proposals. So that is one of our other funding sources that's available at this time. It is a rolling deadline, so you do not have to, you don't have a hard date. It's just, as you're ready, you apply, and we ask that you please reach out to your local development district, which is Eastgate, so that we can provide technical assistance to help you strengthen and maybe coordinate some connections outside the state with our other sister agencies that are across the state lines. Then the last thing is our annual conference, and both Justin and I will be attending this. This is going to be in Maryland, and that's October 17th to the 19th. It's called One Appalachia. We're going to be focusing on connection and collaboration, and highlights will be discussions on creating and expanding our workforce, developing entrepreneurs, building leadership and community capacity. And this must be a very popular one because it actually was at maximum capacity within 2 weeks after they first announced it. So we're looking forward to that. So that is the presentation that I gave at this morning's TAC, and I know that's kind of a lot to give you to digest at one time, But I'm happy to address any questions you may have. And I can't see anyone. So let's see.
Can you hear me?
I can. Oh, there we go. Now I can see some folks.
That's good.
So hopefully I didn't scare you too much. There's a lot going on. I see someone has their hand up and they have a beautiful background outside. So I don't know who that is, but I'd be happy to join you wherever you're at this time.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm in beautiful Kent, Ohio. I'm a Youngstown, Ohio resident, but I'm a PhD student at Kent State University. And one of the main things I focus on is advocating and doing the history of transportation in the Mahoning Valley. And I think the biggest thing that crosses all those T's and dots all the I's of what this program wants to accomplish is Eastgate's proposed Mahoning River Greenway. And so I was just wondering, for bike trail funding, obviously that's one of the things that seems like it would cover. Would that be able to be used in conjunction with various other programs, or is it? I know Ohio, the state of Ohio, has different bike trail funding sources. Can you combine like state and federal funding to hopefully get that done?
Well, you have very intuitive, very good question. First, let's take the easy one. Can you combine state and federal funding? ARC is one of the few entities that you can combine federal with federal, state with federal, and local. So the answer to your question is yes on that one. As far as your bike, I'm sorry, was it bike paths or bike trails? What is it?
As part of Eastgate's Mahoning River Corridor Plan, they proposed a hike and bike trail to go along the Mahoning River, and it would connect with a larger amount of trails in the region. It would really connect between Pittsburgh and Cleveland. We're like the missing link to connect a bunch of regional trails.
Yes, you are absolutely right on target. This funding is for, of course, downtown revitalization is connecting our outdoor recreation spaces, uh, bringing that into our downtowns. That way we are spurring tourism, economic development, and supporting our entrepreneurs. Now, as a standalone project for one municipality or one entity, that would not be competitive. It would need to be part of a bigger picture. And I will give you an example of one of the projects that Eastgate is going to put forward on this program when the guidance is announced, and that is our River of Opportunity. And in fact, when I was at the Appalachian Forward conference, I served as the moderator for the Downtown Revitalization panel. And I also was a panelist, so I had double duty. And the wonderful video that we have on the Eastgate website that talks about the vision for the river, that is what I shared. So just to give you an overview and in a broad spec, we had the Mahoning River going through two counties, Trumbull and Mahoning. So there is our regional aspect. We have 9 dams. And when we were in our heydays with the steel mills, that river just gave its life for our steel production. Well, since 70s, we no longer have the steel production, but the dams remain. So about 10 years ago, Eastgate started partnering with our chamber and our mayors and also the Army Corps of Engineers. And we have a plan in order to remove those 9 dams along the 5 cities. So we have removed 2 of those dams, and that was about $20 million. And then we have secured funding to remove the 5, is it 4 or 5? I believe 5. So it's 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, 5. That's about, that funding is secured, roughly about $13 million for that. We have 2 remaining, and we're working with the Army Corps of Engineers to secure that. So when those dams are taken out, and Louisville is the first to be taken out, that's restoring the river to its original state, beautification, spurring outdoor recreation. It's getting entrepreneurs started with their business life back into our 5 cities that is impacted. So this has been broken out in phases over the years, and we will be submitting an application for that project and the downtown revitalization. Of course, we're going with the plan because you know Jim Kinnick. He always says you gotta have a plan. If you're gonna ask for money, you gotta have a plan. So we are definitely going to take advantage of the planning money that's available through the Appalachian Community Grant Program. It will probably be a very large ask when we get to implementation, and certainly, you know, your bike trails, your development, that could all be part of the component. So thank you for bringing that up, and I'll make sure that as we continue through the process that there is that's brought into the picture. And so we have a consultant through Eastgate, and then also through the Governor's Office of Appalachia, GOA, let's just say that because it's too long. GOA, they have hired 2 consultants that are covering our districts, and Jay Bennett is the consultant for our district. So he's a wonderful wealth of knowledge, and will be bringing the river project forward and making sure that bike trail thing is at least part of the discussion. I see another hand there.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi.
Um, Relative to several of the issues you raised, I'm wondering if some of the ARC money, some of this new money, could be used to help to make improvements at the new Struthers boat launch. And you probably were at that dedication, and you've seen it. You know what the problem is. You need to extend the parking lot closer to the launch ramp, because that's like a 250-foot carry for canoes and kayaks down that ramp, which includes a switchback down to the river. You also need a comfort station, and you need a shelter with picnic tables at the Struthers location. In other words, make it complete, just like the beautiful facility you have at the Lowellville boat launch. Okay, then you also need to connect those two and make it safe for cyclists, because some people, if they're doing the kayak trip or canoe trip, they're going to use their bicycle as a shuttle, perhaps. Okay, and you have to have a way to get there safely, and it is not safe to ride a bicycle across the Bridge Street Bridge because of that curve there. The motorists can't see you. When I did this trip a couple of weeks ago by myself, I shuttled across the Lowellville Bridge there and came up Poland Avenue, but I still had to come up a heavily traveled street. This is relevant to not only river recreation, but also the revitalization of downtown Struthers. It ties Struthers to Lowellville. It's regionally relevant. I think what you need is to take that Stavich bike trail from where it ends in Struthers, and you need to extend it. I believe there's a plan to do that on the north side of the river. But I think you also need a bike path bridge over the river so that cyclists can get safely and directly to the new Struthers boat launch. Of course, the Struthers launch is river right. The Lowellville launch is river left. As you're going down the river, you know, those would be your directions. Anyway, I'm just wondering if some of this connectivity here with downtown Struthers revitalization and improvement of riverfront bike trail recreation and boat launches improvements, I wonder if any or all of this might be eligible for the new ARC funding.
Well, you guys got your finger on the pulse, because you're talking about things that we are definitely on board with. Yes, I was at the river event, our river opportunity, and celebrating the progress of the river. This is exactly what we want to do, because it's spurring economic development, it's spurring new businesses. And yes, Mayor Catherine Miller, she spoke at the event. We had representation from the Governor's Office of Appalachia, as well as elected officials, and they were just so impressed at the Governor's Office, the collaboration and the cooperation and the support of the mayors of the 5 cities coming together, working together. And then, of course, we all took a trek down 2.5 miles. We started at Struthers, ended up in Lowellville. But this is, I can't say what is going to be funded or if it's going to be funded because it is a competitive process. But this is exactly what Eastgate and our partners through the regional chamber and our mayors of the Mahoning River, this is what we're advocating for our region. The mayors have been very vocal about what each city has an interest in doing, and that's where our consultants will come into play in putting together that plan. Because so you're right on target, Pete. That's exactly right. And we're hoping it gets funded. You know, that's going to be the big ask. Of course, that's Trumbull Mahoning. We also have Ashtabula. So we're working with the folks in Ashtabula through the commissioners and the Ashtabula Growth Association to bring forth a project there too. 500 million is a lot of money, but we want all of our counties to be impacted. Are there any other questions? Okay, well, I really appreciate your time and letting me, present this information, and we will definitely keep you informed. I know Justin, as always, probably always giving you the information that we bring forward at the TAC. And if there's any questions that I can assist with, please feel free to reach out to me by email, and I'll be glad to respond if there's anything that you think of after the conclusion of this presentation.
All right, thank you so much, Kathy, for taking time out of your evening to address us. Our next item, Jenny, you presented to the General Policy Board. Is there any comments you would like to make?
Well, it was fun to present. Throwing my two little cents in. But thank you, Justin, for preparing the report. But I can always use that now. What they're interested in. So, as far as that meeting went, okay, she's presented it, or someone presented the Appalachian Council, talked about investment.
Is that Genevieve?
Yeah.
Can you speak up, Genevieve?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm muddling through here. So, yeah, we heard about that. We heard about the Safe Streets applying for a $300,000 planning to use next year. Also the airport, there's $320,000 for an airport study. We're focusing on dam removal, investing in downtown development on the river. They want to hear from organizations in the community and hear about their successes. So I thought I would bring that to Trumbull Neighborhood Partnership because I think they have been successful in their ventures. So anybody who has successful and happy news from your community, they want to hear about it. And then Justin's going to Minnesota, my home state. So that's for now NARC. What is that?
So that's the National Association of Regional Councils. That's kind of a national group that Eastgate's a member of.
Right, as metropolitan. And it's a planning event, seek ideas.
Yeah, so the event is in 2 weeks in Minneapolis. It's a national conference for a similar organization. It's the Association of Metropolitan Planning Organizations. So MPOs from around the country gather to share information. Myself and Eric Svensson, our communications coordinator, will be there to present kind of Eastgate's strategy for communications. He's a new hire. He's been here just about a year. I think we've been doing things with the CAB a little bit differently than maybe has been done in the past. So what's really interesting about that is that other MPOs don't necessarily even have a CA meeting. So being able to share what we do and how we do it is really interesting, helpful for folks around the country.
Then we talked about the Mahoning River corridor revitalization. They gave a little history of it that started much back in 1999. There's some brownfield issues. So we talked about the two dams that are gone, and 5 are fully funded. July 2021, July 22. Oh, that's when the Lowville and Struthers dams were removed. One was April through October, one was July through, well, in 1 year, July 2021 to July 22. And 2 remain due. Because 2 industries are using the pool, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
That's the Gerard. Yeah.
Cleveland Cliffs.
That's not the other. Is that going to be some of your responsibility now?
It will, yeah.
It's still there.
Okay, and then that's about all I have as far as the general policy board.
All right, thank you. Justin, a little review on what we did today at the TAC.
Yeah, so I'll go over this pretty quickly. It looks like a short agenda, but really there's a lot going on with these few programs. First up is the 201 Facility Planning Amendment Discussion of Resolution. All that is there's a resolution in your agenda packet today. This is something that Stephanie had provided in a previous meeting. There is an amendment to the Meander 201 Facility Planning Area. So that's the sanitary sewer systems for those areas. All of the information for those changes is included in that resolution. And then an email will go out to the current CAB board members after this meeting for you to submit your vote to approve that resolution. Up next is the Ohio Public Works Commission District 6 Round 37 funding and project updates. So Ed gave us an update on the status of that program. He shared that 57 pre-applications were submitted at the end of August, and that the scoring committee has met once to begin the process of scoring and ranking these projects. The total grant request for that program was $11.8 million across those projects, with $1.6 million being requested in loan funding. He had mentioned that the grant allocation for that program is about $7.6 million, so not all the projects will be funded. So that's where that scoring will come into play. And he also shared that final applications are due December 16th after the scoring process is completed. So you'll kind of get another update down the line once those projects are finalized and that scoring is set. Then Kathy shared information very similar to what she shared with you all here today about the Appalachian Regional Commission, so I won't reiterate what she said. Following Kathy, Eric and I gave a preview of the presentation we're going to give in Minneapolis at the AMPO annual conference. A big component of that presentation is actually the CAB census that we did earlier this year. So I kind of showed off the data from that a couple months ago. So that's incorporated into our talk. It should be a really fun topic to cover. After that, Stephen gave us an update on the Youngstown Smart Tube project updates. Kind of an updated schedule for roadway construction and the autonomous shuttle implementation. So as everyone in this room is well aware, everything outside is kind of a hot mess. But that means progress. It means things are changing and progressing. And soon enough, we'll forget about the orange barrels and we'll all be, nice, new, safe, and functional roadway. But some of the information he shared was that Front Street will be finishing up here shortly. They've already restored a little bit of traffic flow on the west side of the street, I think in one direction, and the rest of that should be opening shortly, as well as on the east side of the street. That Construction is progressing really well and in its final stages. Commerce Street is making some strides. I think they hit some rough spots finding some stuff underground for a while, but a lot of that has been figured out and they've been pouring some new curb. So that will keep going. And then Federal Street's the next big one where they're doing in sections. So you can see right in front of our building is all tore up. So that one's going to be a tough one to get through, but it will be better once it's finished. And that'll take, I think, into next year before that's completed. Some of the other considerations is that Rayan Avenue is also being done as a part of this project. That project is a little simpler than the other streets. They're not moving the curves. So the street configuration will stay the same as far as width, but they will be restriping. So instead of it being 2 lanes in each direction, it'll be 1 lane in each direction, a center turn lane, and then a striped bike lane in each direction as well. So considering that that's a main street through campus, especially the southern side, that'll provide a nice safe activity space for cyclists to head east-west through YSU's campus. Lastly, he covered the,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What's the shuttle component of that?
yeah, absolutely. That's what I was just getting to.
Sorry.
No, you're good. The autonomous shuttle is kind of the big flashy part to this project, I'll say. The grant program, when we had submitted this, was really looking for innovation in transportation technology. So I think that is what drew a lot of attention to our project and helped us be successful in capturing these funds. The autonomous shuttle for the smart network project, the final contracting has to be done in April of 2023. So then that will allow the awarded provider of that shuttle to a year to kind of get that in the works and get on the ground running. The good news is WRTA used the build project funding as leverage to capture additional funding to do a pilot project for an autonomous shuttle a year earlier. So next summer, you're going to see an autonomous shuttle out on Fifth Avenue going from WRTA's Federal Station up Fifth Avenue. It'll loop around Mercy Health Hospital, come right back down Fifth Avenue, loop around WRTA and continue back in kind of this north-south loop. So they're going to give that a full year trial. They were able to find a separate grant to put that on. And then once that pilot project ends, that should roll over nice and smooth seamlessly into the funding that we received through this project to continue that. And there will be changes. That route may not stay the same. If the operators in WRTA are seeing different trends and what people want out of it, how they're using it and riding it, they may switch up the route. They may, figure out different ways to actually implement it. I think that project will evolve as they take in more data or kind of how it functions and how people want to use it. But it will be a free service. You can just hop on wherever you want and take it to where it goes and hop right up.
So you can take a bus downtown and go to YSU and Sydney's.
Is the project on schedule? Because I thought it was supposed to be starting in this year.
So, yes. So the autonomous shuttle was always intended to kick off at the very end of all the construction because they didn't want the shuttle to run while streets were torn up. That was kind of old information that we were operating on. So the schedule is tailored to that. But the new operator that WRTA is working with for this pilot project said it's no problem to route around construction or even kind of go through detours with this shuttle. So the technology has advanced just in the very short 3 years that we've been kind of paying attention to it and trying to keep up with the trend. And, the technology really has advanced way faster than we thought it ever could. So we are still kind of grateful that we put that at the tail end of the project because it kind of gives us that time to breathe for the construction. But everything is on schedule. There is a firm end date for when that money needs to be spent. So I'd have to ask Stephen to get a firm answer for you on that.
You know what? I missed something. but I'll let you finish.
Sure, yeah. The last thing that was updated was Murda gave some information about the Federal Transit Administration's Section 5310 grant program. So this is funding that comes down from the federal government for transit operations specific to mobility for seniors and people with disabilities. She did announce that Trumbull County was awarded $556,000 as a grant through this program. It wasn't immediately clear to me, and I can get clarification from her, what the specific end use of this funding would be for. I believe there will be a service component, almost like the paratransit service that's available through WRTA, where it's door to door for seniors and people with disabilities. But that money could also be used for other projects, so accessibility projects to transit service. So that's similar to the city of Warren and Liberty Township, who received money from the same program last year, I believe, or the year before, to do some sidewalk projects to aid in that connection on transit routes for people to more easily access transit accessibility. But that is everything we talked about at TAC. That's a very quick overview, a lot of information. Anybody have any questions?
Going forward, let's move on to our membership. Justin prepared on one of the appendixes, a page about our membership. The top half of the page is our current membership in our leadership positions. And the lower half of the page is all the applications that we have received for next year to date. Couple quick comments. If any current board member has not submitted an application, please do so. And then also at the bottom of the applications for 2023 signifies, denotes anybody's interested in one of the leadership positions next year. If you see your name there and you are interested in one of the positions that we're going to vote on here in the next couple of months, but that does not denote it next to your name, please email Justin and he'll correct that for you. And then again, we'll be reviewing these and picking, choosing the slate for the nominations next month's meeting. Want to go over a resolution that we have for passage?
Yeah, so I had mentioned this real briefly before. This is on our water quality side. This is amending our 208 plan, which is our water quality management plan. There is a change to the Meander 201 facility planning area, which the second page of that resolution shows a map, including the changes. So you'll see that blue box will be added inside the facility planning area. So that is essentially what the change is. That's what the resolution covers, is just adding that hashed area on the map to within the sewer service area. Like I said before, I will send out an email after this meeting to the current board members for you to be able to vote on that resolution.
Anybody have any questions or comments? Questions or comments? That's been, so I'll go to announcements.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, for sure.
I haven't been here, but I've still been involved in transit, especially in Trumbull County. And I just wanted to say real quick that pandemic fixed routes in Trumbull County started the same month as the pandemic started. So it never had really a chance to go, but now it has. And I just wanted to update in case you hear differently, that ridership has just really gone really increased. I mean, you can only take really the last 4 or 5 months and say, okay, now we're normal. But things like the Warren Express, that's been around for quite a while now, was the highest it's ever been. And it's the third highest on all of the WRTA routes. So they've adjusted some over the time in adjusted some routes in Trumbull County. Just, we have to evaluate ridership and stuff like that. But so far, so good. And hopefully it'll continue to be funded and become real. It's still tentative. It still lives on grants. So it's not, but I just thought that that's just something I don't want to fall behind, on the wayside, because it's.
They were funding that on one of the COVID related grants. But I'm listening to commissioners meetings, there was continued talks, continued discussion about countywide funding of that service. Do you know if there's any progress made with that? Or what's the feelings of Trumbull County as far as funding that program?
I don't think there's hurt feelings and all kinds of other stuff. But WRTA is committed to doing it. They want to do it. And the people need it, obviously. So hopefully that will work out. I think time might heal some of that. Proof of ridership might heal some of that. But it needs to be known that people are riding the bus. That needs to be known, because it's not being talked about, not because there's other things in the world, but people are on the bus. So last month, the Warren Express provided 11,362 rides. It's just a lot of people, a lot of rides.
I know in Mahoney County, it's funded by the 4% sales tax we have.
Right, exactly.
We gotta get Dean back in here again, because they expanded some of their services with more door to door that they provide. A lot of it is free if you're not within, I think, a half mile of if you're not within a half mile of a fixed route, then they
Right,
provide
yeah,
door to
yeah,
door.
they adjusted their routes too. They've done quite a bit of changing in the last couple of years or so. They adapt. They have someone there now that's a professional transit planner, and did a good job on adjusting, the Warren route. So it's it needs to get back in the conversations.
Just remember last time we had anybody from WRTA?
A couple of months ago, we had their consultant here that presented.
That wasn't on that, that was on.
That was on the Market Street TV.
Yeah, but just on your current service.
It's probably been a long time.
Come over and have somebody, or you can send a representative to talk about maybe just spitball ideals for Trumbull County, and maybe we can go with it a little bit.
That still is a sore subject. It's so bad that I don't talk to Trumbull County about it, because what's the point? But people are riding in spite of it. Let's put it that way. In spite of it, people are riding the bus.
And it always seemed to me that Trumbull County had a car plan, so they wanted everybody to buy cars.
Yeah.
That's what it seemed. I mean,
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay.
I see Lynn has her hand up. So Lynn,
I've been riding the 11 Cornersburg down to the WRTA station. Then I get on the 28 out to Warren. And I want to compliment the drivers. If anybody can get this to them, they're doing a great job. They're helping people put their bicycles right on the front of that bus. You can go to Warren, ride your bicycle all around. It's great. It's a wonderful thing. And, it needs to keep going, because this is helping us out here in Youngstown, being able to get to Warren, and also having Warren people able to get to Youngstown. on that number 28 Express.
It gets lost in the fact that people do go between. And it helps it's people going back to buy a shoe with that.
Any other comments? Yes, sir.
They were talking about a couple years ago about extending the service to the Cleveland Airport.
That would be great.
Instead on arrival.
Again, we're gonna see if we can get, their director, their executive director in here. If not, maybe we can send some of the other representatives. Newcastle does something similar. They run down to the airport, they run downtown, Pittsburgh, goes to the Rivers Casino. They do that, a couple times a day, so.
I've taken that bus. For $8 round trip.
Oh, that's good.
That's cheaper than a toll almost.
And that's-
Oh, yeah, tolls are up there now.
Okay, we'll continue this at another meeting. Any other announcements?
You done? But I sing with Stambach Chorus and we're having a night at the races Sunday, October 16th at 5 p.m. We have dinner, doors open at 4. And then the races start at 6. And it's just a really fun event, but it's a fundraiser for our organization. We put on a couple concerts. The most important one at Christmas time is we sing with the YACCB band, the Youngstown Area Unity Concert Band, and that's in support of the Second Harvest Food Bank. So it's our concert of giving. So this fundraiser goes to help support that.
All right, any others? All right, with no other comments, I think we will adjourn. All right, thank you, everybody, for attending. We'll see you next month.
Thank you. Sorry, I was on there twice.